everybody, Backyard Bullion here, and a warm welcome to you all joining us for the second episode of Infirm Fridays, which is a phrase that a couple of people here on YouTube and over on the Silver Forum coined, as last week, as many of you know, I was infirm in hospital and unable to bring you our regular scheduled programming of a cool coin made of silver or gold. I will give you guys an update on that whole situation, hospital, and everything that I went through. I think it's an interesting story and one that hopefully some of you might learn from if you ever have a similar situation, not to ignore it. And also talk about the spade guinea, which I had. So this was the little coin that I showed in that video I made from hospital, just to let you all know that that video was not going to be happening. And so many of you loved it and asked what it was and didn't know what it was. And I have done an episode of InFocus Friday, I think, on this once upon a time, but I thought I'd showcase it here again and tell you a little bit about it. It's called a spade guinea from 1791, 229-year-old coin. It's a pretty awesome piece of history, which I wear around my neck. It's like my carry piece, and I really love it. And it's just, you know, very, very close to my heart, I guess, literally, figuratively. I enjoy having piece of history with me at all times. I know a lot of you were asking, which side do I have facing out? I have the spade side facing out, this side facing out on the chain. So that's pretty much all I need to say about it. It's an awesome piece of gold. It's roughly the same size as a sovereign. It was what basically the gold standard was back then. A guinea, which is basically the unit of currency in the United Kingdom, in Great Britain anyway, at that time. And of course, this has got the Mad King George on the front there, 1791. I think 1791 or 1792 was the last year that spade guineas were ever made. So definitely a piece of history which I really like. And for those wondering, no, I did not drill a hole in this to make it into a necklace. It was bought with a hole already drilled in it. Normally a spade guinea, even in the condition it's in without the hole, would have been, you're talking 2, 3, 4 times spot price. You know, back when I bought it, I think it was about 10% over spot price for what it was. And as soon as I saw it with the hole drilled in it, I knew that I could make it into a necklace. So I just bought a little gold bail, if we can get it to focus, 9-carat gold bail. And I already had the chain because I used to wear a St. Christopher around my neck. And now I have replaced it with this gold guinea. I still wear the St. Christopher every now and again, more so when I'm traveling. I'm a little bit superstitious like that. But for the most part, it's the gold guinea now, which I absolutely love and cherish. So that's a little bit about the gold guinea and why I had it with me when I went to hospital. And I know a lot of people were interested about it. I'll try and dig up the actual episode of InFocus Friday that I did on it and link that down in the description below if you want to find out a little bit more about it. But it's just a part of history, part of me, and I really like it. And I love it. So yeah, there we go. That's the spade guinea. Now, to a little bit of the sort of medical update. Now, I let you all know that I had an ear infection. That was the reason I went in. And for those who might be listening and thinking, really, hospitalized for an ear infection? That's kind of what I would have said too if I'd never had gone through what I went through. For those who've had ear infections, severe ones anyway, you'll know that the pain that accompanies them can be completely debilitating. It really is pain like nothing else I've ever experienced. And I've fortunately never had a significant amount of pain in my life, but it was unbearable. It was certainly to the point of literally screaming into my pillow at 1 o'clock in the morning, crying. And at that point, myself and Mrs. Backyard Bullion decided that a trip to A&E was probably the best thing to do. So at 1:30 in the morning, God bless her, Mrs. Backyard Bullion dropped me off at the A&E department. Promptly went back to bed, I'll add, but she dropped me off there. Of course, you can't go into, it's coronavirus land. You can't have people come in with you now, so I had to go in on my own. The people at the hospital were wonderful. Oh my God, it's just incredible. And for those naysayers out there that say the NHS is bad or is mismanaged or you have ridiculously poor service, you know, for a service that is free for us to use in the time of need, it's just incredible. Like I was triaged. I was pretty quickly given pain relief. I think they could see how much pain I was in very quickly. I have to say the pain relief I got, even though it was morphine based, a thing called Oromorph, which is basically an oral version of morphine, slightly less impactful than injecting morphine, but it still meant to take the edge off most things. It barely took the edge off. I had to have a second dose quite quickly afterwards. was seen by the A&E consultants and immediately admitted and referred to the ENT, so ear, nose and throat department, where they specialise in these kind of things. Managed the pain through the night with a few extra painkillers, and didn't get hardly any sleep, so I was completely exhausted and knackered. Got finally referred through to the ENT department in the sort of the early morning of the next day, and they admitted me, tried some antibiotics, and basically the infection had really taken hold quite deep within my both ears now. It was left ear first, then right ear second. Really, really bad, really incredibly painful, still so bad. And so it was IV antibiotics and various painkillers to try and manage that. It took a good 48 hours for the antibiotics to really kick in and start combating the bug, whatever it was that had caused the infection in the first place. I still don't actually know right now what that was. This is what we're looking at day 3 out of hospital. I haven't had the swab results for the cultures of what is growing or was growing inside my ears, but whatever it was a nasty little thing, and it certainly did a number on me. Pain everywhere in my face. It extended down. In fact, at one point we were a little bit worried that the infection had spread to other parts of my head, jaw, potentially the inner ear, which is a very serious problem. It can actually span into meningitis, inflammation, and of the brain sac. So that's an incredibly dangerous thing, of course. So they were looking out for that. They were running various blood tests, throughout my stay to keep an eye on those kind of markers, infection markers and things like that. And at one point we were looking at doing a CT scan, but fortunately by that point I'd started to improve. I'd started to feel more sort of manageable with the pain on the medications that we were on. I mean, to take them less frequently and so on. So fortunately, and thank God, it all started to get better. And now we're, as I said, I'm day 3 out from hospital, still on antibiotics, still on pain medication, and it's okay. It's painful. I'm in pain most of the time, but the painkillers definitely make it manageable to the point where I can function, I can do things, I can just live life normally. I say normally. The other thing I haven't mentioned in this entire video so far is hearing loss. So prior to the night that I was really poorly, my hearing had slightly gone down. It was probably about 75% of what it used to be. Still, that's perfectly fine. I could hear everything I needed to hear. But it got really worse in that sort of evening that I got really bad. And when they had looked in my ears, the ear canal on the left ear had almost completely closed. They had to insert what's called a wick in there, which is a little thing to open the canal so that you can actually get eardrops and antibiotics and steroids and painkillers and things into the ear itself to help heal it. The right ear was close behind that, but they didn't put the wick in there. And let me tell you, if you've ever had a little plastic insert pushed into your very swollen, very inflamed ear, that is a procedure you do not want to have done. It's so, so painful. But consequently, my hearing is currently, it's awful. It's almost next to nothing. In fact, I can't hear conversations which are probably more than 2 meters away. Conversation, level tones. People have to really kind of speak quite loudly for me to be able to hear at 2 meters or more away. Can't hear the telly, can't hear stuff on YouTube. If I put headphones on, I can hear things, but I have noticed that, I don't know whether it's like the big headphones, not just the earplug headphones. I can't even put those in now. But big headphones like that, they seem to really hurt my ears. My eardrums seems to be vibrating with those, so I can't use those. So it's very difficult to watch TV, to listen to stuff on YouTube. I have to have like high volume on speakers, which is much to the annoyance of our neighbours, I'm sure. And it's a weird thing. Like your hearing is obviously incredibly important, and a lot of people, myself included, I think you hear these questions of silly what ifs. If you had to lose one sense, would it be your sense of sight or would it be your hearing? And I think before all this, I'd have said without question, I'd have been like, oh, I'll lose my hearing. I can cope without hearing. That's fine. Losing your hearing is horrible. It's so isolating. It's so lonely. Like to not be able to, or to be in a room and not know what's going on in the room. And I'm not talking about being nosy or anything, but just, if you're in a room full of people and you can't hear what's going on, you can't hear if somebody's walking up behind you, you can't hear what kind of conversations are going on over there. Maybe the doctors and nurses are talking about you, and you just don't know. It's really isolating. It's really it's quite sad, really, in a way. And I have this newfound awareness and sympathy for people who have hearing difficulties and or have lost their hearing completely, it's completely isolating and completely, it's quite demoralizing. It really is. Now, my hearing hopefully will return over time. I haven't noticed any discernible difference yet, but that's partly because of the eardrops that I constantly have to have in my ear, which again sort of don't help with hearing at all. But I have been told it could take up to 2 months for my hearing to fully kind of get back to where it was, which is frustrating, but at least it's hopefully not going to be permanent. There's a very, very small chance that there could be damage to hearing in the long term. That's something to manage as an outpatient over time and monitor, but most times it's not. It's just the short-term inflammation and of course the eardrops and things in your ears that basically block it. So yeah, it's really interesting, quite scary. Like, you've got to look after these kind of things. And I know a lot of people who'll as probably not watched the video to this point, thinking ear infection, hospitalization, really, what's the big deal here? Don't ignore them. Don't ignore an ear infection. That's what I've learned. And, it's really important to keep care of yourself when you have got an ear infection. Don't constantly poke it and prod it and try and remedy it yourself. Keep an eye on it. If it starts to get exponentially worse like I had, really, really keep an eye on it, because it can actually turn into things which are life-threatening if you have that infection transferred into different parts of your body, the bones, the brain sacs, and that's meningitis. Meningitis is a very, very serious thing. So there are complications that can come from that, and it's always worth getting medical attention if you can. So that's one thing I've definitely learned. And an ear infection, the pain levels are just mad. I've never experienced anything like it. So that's a little bit of a medical update for you on this Infirm Friday episode. Thank you to anybody who has been listening to this long, and a big thank you to everybody who commented on that video that I put out last week. Your kind words of thoughts and prayers and just good words of will were really helpful. I had nothing else to do. As I said, I couldn't watch television, I couldn't listen to things on YouTube, I couldn't do anything. So all I could do was read, and hardly at that too. I couldn't concentrate for long periods of time. So just being able to see and read short comments from people on YouTube was really nice. And beyond that as well, there were loads of people who were emailing me to ask if I was all right, and just sort of passing on their good wishes on the forum and on just my emails as well. So a huge thank you to everybody. I really do appreciate it. So good news is I am on the mend. I'm getting better. I'm still quite tired and fatigued, but hopefully things will improve going forwards. So once again, I just want to say a huge thank you to a few people. First up, of course, Mrs. Backyard Bullion for looking after me in the time I was very poorly, and then after as well. She was incredible, even more so because she sent a big gift box to all the nursing staff and doctors on the ward that were looking after me, and I got like 6 or 7 different thank yous from those people to say that she'd sent a giant box of goodies and chocolates and muffins and things like that. So that was well earned, deserved. Thanks to Mrs. Backyard Bullion. Also a big thank you to everybody on the ward, all the doctors and nurses, especially the nurses. Guys, nurses do so much. I mean, doctors are wonderful and they really do so much work behind the scenes to keep you happy and healthy. But the nurses are the ones that look after you on the ward. They're the ones that make sure you've got everything you need, and anything you want, they can try and help with. They're wonderful and they should not be ignored. Give your local nurse a big pat on the back if you know one. They're fantastic people. And then just a big thank you to all of you out there for your kind support, and it's just so humbling to have people worried about me and asking after me. It's a bit surreal, it's a bit strange. I mean, I'm still trying to get used to that kind of thing. I really I don't really feel like I'm deserved of that, but I do appreciate it, and thank you so much to everybody. So yeah, there we are. If you've enjoyed the little story time of Infirm Friday, then make sure that you hit that thumbs up button and share this around on your social media. And if you want to see videos from us in the future, then make sure that you hit that subscribe button. And if you want to get notifications when our videos are uploaded, you know what to do. Hit that alarm bell. Otherwise, that is it from me and my 229-year-old spayed guinea. I hope you've enjoyed. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next video. As always, please make sure that you like, share, comment, and subscribe for more.